Okay, this is the workflow for Sierra Forensics doing archaeology and biology construction compliance. So they would begin their field season by copying a project. I'm going to copy this one here, hit copy project, and they will want to copy all the members in. They will bring all the forms in probably because they use the same forms year over year, but they might make some tweaks to it. So we'll do that after the copy finishes. They will want all their exports, their nest locations. They will bring those in as well. Taxon favorites for sure because they're finding the same species over and over, and then their template. So we'll click on that one. This is their report builder template that they use for their reporting at the end of the season. Okay, so we'll copy, oh, gotta give it a name. We'll just call it the 2025 project. Test, oops. Test project. Okay, copy. I'm sure that'll take a second to copy because of the projects. Okay, so the project is finished copying, and let me just check their settings here. So it copied in with all the things that they would have changed if they made the project from scratch. Like they changed their location to nest, and they might increase the sync limit. So I'm going to go ahead and do that just because they need to see their previous day's work sometimes. So we'll save that. And then the next thing they would do is go to their member list, and they will manage this a bit here and there. They might change the role on a couple people, like maybe he's a field lead now, maybe this guy is no longer working on the project, and maybe this one is also maybe field user plus this season or something like that. So I'll save that, and then they would go to their export library, and of course it came in with all the exports that they need here. But if there was anything else, like I don't see the KML in here, and I think they probably would want that one, so they would add it. So let's just go ahead and do that. Just to, oh, whoops, wrong button. Go here and add the KML. Okay, perfect. And then they don't really use the document library, so there wouldn't be anything in there. These are potentially the same as the previous season, so I would assume that they would leave this as is or maybe add to it. There's a potential that they would come either here and add new nests that they are adding to the project for the year, or they might do an import and import additional nests that aren't already in the list. Taxon favorites, they do have a list, and again, they might, I can't see them really deleting any, they probably wouldn't, but I can definitely see them adding some if there are more that we're missing. It's their opportunity to add things that maybe they didn't have on the list last year that they would have liked to have. And then from there, they would just begin collecting data. And I'm syncing to my phone right now, and I will just pop in there. And the survey form that they use the most, well, they use all three of them. The archaeology form is submitted daily by all of their archaeology monitors, and the biology form is submitted daily as well by all of their monitors. So I'll do an archaeology form. Oh, they do not. Okay, let me see if I can do this really quick. They also don't use survey status in this project. So I'm gonna have to put data into like everything to get it to save. Okay, so I entered both an archaeology and a biology form on my phone, and here they are. Okay, so once these surveys come into the web app, They will QA/QC just by opening each survey and checking for completeness and making adjustments to the data as necessary. So I'm not really going to do much here. I'll just, just go ahead and add a couple extra things in here, and then they would just save and exit. And then probably the same for this one. So edit, change a couple things, nothing crazy, add a couple check marks, save and exit. Okay, and so once they're done with their QA/QC in the actual individual surveys, they will be going here. They don't really do much with editable grid. They don't do much in the gallery, the taxa gallery, maps, documents, really none of that. Their next step is to export. And they do two different kinds of exports. The first one is a weekly standard compilation. So they just hit the standard compilation, they do it by form. They will do separate exports for archaeology and biology. So I'll do the archaeology first, and then it would just be the week's worth of data like that. The only advanced setting that they mess around with is they add a custom header. Let's do 1, 2, 3, because it doesn't really matter. And we'll preview that. Obviously, there's not much data in there. And then export. So that would be their weekly archaeology report. They will do the same thing for the biology, just a weekly PDF compilation. Okay, back to exporting. They will also, every once in a while, and I'm not sure what time frame they do this on, but it doesn't really matter, but every once in a while they will just run out a tabular of all their data. So again, it will just be, this would probably be the entire length of the project. So whatever the start and end date are, they would just do all of it. They do have tags on various different forms, so they might export by tag. It just depends on what data they're trying to get out of it. And then from there, they don't really mess with any of the rest of this. They just would do a preview and then an export to Excel. And then finally, the one that they will do yearly, and it's pretty important just because it's their yearly report, and they also have a really nice report builder template that they have created. So we want to make sure that this works for them for sure. But it's actually not a super complicated one. They do this only for their biology form. So they pick the biology form, and oh, the template came in with the dates from the other project. That's interesting. Good to note. Yeah, we don't want 2023. We want 2025. I feel like the copied report template should come in with no date at all, but anyway, that's a different problem entirely. Okay, great. So just do that. Just pretend that would be like a season's worth of data, at least a couple months. Then they have their list of inspectors. These are all the settings that they do. And that all looks good. So let's do an update. And then here's that data from the one survey that I entered. And you can see their whole thing where they do a section for each of the things that they're monitoring, and then a summary at the top of that data. And they have that data come in through tags. So yeah, that's what that looks like. And we'll do a preview. Oh, and they do not include photos in this report, which is interesting. This is really just a data report. Oh, and when stuff like this happens, they will go in there and adjust the different tables to make those fit. And another thing that they can do is copy and paste these up into this paragraph. Let me go back and show that. So they just sort of like move the data around depending on what they need. Like that was, I think this was the one that was too big, so they'll just like decrease the size of this column to make it fit better. I'm not going to do it right now, but yeah, so they're in and out of this report, just sort of making adjustments to it, those minor adjustments, until they're happy with the way it fits on the page. Like this right here, they would definitely be messing with this table until they got it to fit correctly. Cool. But I'm going to just go ahead and export just for the purposes of this workflow test. And that pretty much covers everything that they're doing on like a field season basis for the archaeology and biology construction compliance monitoring that Sierra Forensic does. Refresh. Yeah, there we go.